Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Lars here with Weekly Wrestling Heat. We got a special guest in the house, and for this one, it's me, myself, Moise, and we got. I'll let Moise do the introduction. Moise, go ahead, introduce our
Yes,
special guest today.
thank you, Elias. Yes, we are here with SWE superstar, all around talent, wrestler. And I saw him announcing 2 weeks ago. I'm wearing his t-shirt, gold, girls, glory, the three G's. Ladies and gentlemen, Bam Bam Malone.
What's up, fellas? What's up, man? Thanks for having me on. I'm
What's
really looking forward to it.
What's
Oh
up,
man,
Bam? What's
welcome to
up?
the show, my man. So how's everything going with you? Everything going good?
Good, man. The gold's there, the girls are there, the glory's there. I can't complain, man.
Awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that.
Oh,
So
you in
let's
life.
jump in straight into it, man. So let I guess we'll go with the start off question. How long have you been in the industry? How long when did you get started? I know we were talking a little bit about it before we got online, but just fill us in with when did you get started? How long you been in it?
Yeah, I've always been. I mean, I was a lifelong fan, just like everybody. Just about everybody who does get into the business is. Um, and then I had a high school football coach by the name of Brett Barnes. He went by Brett Idol when he was still wrestling, but he trained down at Booker T's place down in Houston. And Brett ended up being my high school coach for my sophomore year on. And I just kind of started picking his brain my sophomore year. I'd kind of started getting back into wrestling. I kind of dropped off a little bit towards like seventh, eighth, ninth grade. I was more interested in football and girls and all that junk. And so I started watching Monday Night Raw again and just kind of eased my way back into it. But it was about my junior year that I was like, man, I think I really want to kind of, really see about doing this myself. So my senior year, it was spring football was rolling around. So I guess really it was the end of my junior year, so end of 2014 or beginning of 2014. And I quit spring football very first day, went to turn my pads in. And then that summer of 2014, I started training with Brett and a group of guys out of here in Rockwall, Texas, called the Christian Wrestling Federation. I started training with them. It was around probably June or July of 2014, and then had my first match January of 2015, and just been trying to kick down doors ever since then, man.
Christian Wrestling Federation is still around, correct?
Yeah, it is, man. Yeah, so I still wrestle for them. They do a monthly show. It's a really cool deal, man. It's a good atmosphere just to kind of reset. There's such a good group of guys, and yeah, man, we're actually bigger than we ever have been before. Their monthly shows are drawing really well. We have a super cool setup. It's such an old school setup. Like it's a really dim light with the one main light over the ring, so everything's focused on the ring. We call it the Lordatorium. Um, so yeah, but it's a good time, man. Yeah, like I said, we run a monthly show, and of course they'll travel around and do different shows um, with different churches and stuff. But yeah, at least that once a month, I'm in a little town called Fate, Texas, right outside of Rockwall, wrestling for them.
Awesome, awesome.
Nice, nice, nice. Moise,
Elias, you want to
I'll
ask
turn it
this
over to you,
second
brother.
question?
Give me a second. I lost it.
While Elias
Uh,
pulls that up really quick, we had our third co-host actually ask this because a couple weeks ago you liked my tweet about me wearing your shirt when we went live, and he wanted to ask you. He's not here today because he just had another baby. Congratulations, Matt. But he wanted to ask where you got your name from because when you think Bam Bam, it holds a lot of weight in the wrestling industry.
Yeah, so my parents, my mom was a big Flintstone fan, and she wanted to name me Blake. And so my initials, or I would have been Blake Allen Malone. So my initials would have been Bam. And so they were going to call me Bam Bam. And I just always kind of thought that was, that'd be a cool wrestling name, Bam Bam Malone. So when I very first started wrestling, I was actually the Teen Dream because I was only 17. So I was the Teen Dream, and I wanted to do like this kind of like high school jock with like cheerleader gimmick. And it was decided that I was no longer going to be the Teen Dream. And one of the guys at CWF was like, well, what if we call you Bull? And I was like, Bull? And he was like, yeah, Bull Malone. And I was like, okay, well, can I be Bull Bam Bam Malone? He was like, yeah, that's fine, that's fine. So before my very first singles match ever, I grabbed the announcer and I was like, hey, don't say Bull, just say Bam Bam. And he was like, okay. And ever since then, that was it. But yeah, I was almost Bull Malone. But yeah, luckily I was able to get
Were
Bam
you a
Bam
Bam
Malone.
Bam fan growing up? Did you? A lot of people like Bam Bam as well. So, were you a big
Yeah.
Bam Bam fan growing up as well?
Are you talking about like the Flintstones Bam Bam or?
Well, that and Bam Bam Bigelow, you know. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Bam Bam Bigelow. He was a little bit before my time. I'm only 24 years old, so he was like right towards the. Of course, I've gone back and rewatched playing and stuff with him, even Bam Bam Terry Gordy. But I was more of a Terry Gordy fan than I was, and he's even further before my time. But I'm more of a Terry Gordy fan than I am a Bam Bam Bigelow fan myself.
yeah, it's cool
And
that you
also,
got to work beside his daughter now, right?
that's
Like,
what I was just about to say. Yeah, and it's even cool now that I get to be around Miranda so much, and she's such a cool and such a good girl too, and she's got a lot of stuff working for her. So I'm really really happy and really proud of her as well.
Nice. So, speaking of which, what are some of your favorite matches and like favorite, I guess, promotions you work with that you enjoy a lot? I know you were talking about the promotion, your home promotion that you started off at. What are some other ones that you would like that you like?
Um, obviously obviously SWE. We have such a big thing going on there, and for us to be gaining so much national recognition like we are is such a big deal. Um, and how they handled everything throughout the pandemic and how we just kind of stayed the course, man. And we were able to grow during the pandemic, and now that we're on the backside of that, I think there's not a whole lot of things that are going to slow down our momentum with SWE. Another place I've always enjoyed wrestling at is MPX here in Dallas. That was kind of like my, secondary training. I started going there once I graduated high school. The summer after I graduated, I started going to MPX, and that's actually where I met Jackson Stone and Stephen Kirby and a lot of these guys. And Stephen Kirby had a lot to do with my training as well. But MPX is definitely one of out of the promotions in Texas. MPX is one of my favorite as well. But of
so I
course,
live 5 minutes away from MPX, so that's really
okay,
cool. Yeah.
yeah, man, yeah. I hadn't been there in a really long time. That was the right when shows started running again. That was my very first show, and actually, I wrestled Jackson Stone of all people. But yeah, I went and did a show there, and I was on. I think it was either their second or third show that they had started doing once they, started getting back into the swing of things again. But yeah, I got a lot of love for that place as well.
Awesome, awesome. Do you have any advice you want to give the up and comer? I know you're very young yourself, so someone who's like 17, 18, wanting to break in, like, what do you want to tell them? You know?
Yeah, man, just shut up and listen. No, but seriously, just take everything in. No matter there's a few people who you can take things with a grain of salt, as you can say. But listen to everybody, get everybody's feedback, and then once you start learning more on your own, you'll start picking up and figuring out who to go to after your match and be like, hey, what did you think of your match? What's the saying? Don't take criticism, or what is it? Don't take critiques from people you wouldn't seek advice from, or whatever it says. But you get where I'm going, you know. But yeah, man, just soak in as much as you can, and you never stop learning in this business. I've only been in, geez, I guess wrestling 7 years now, and then wrestling for six of those, and I know I'm never going to stop learning. Whether I'm wrestling for 20 years, 30 years, you never stop learning. So don't ever think that know it all, because I guarantee you there's guys out there who have forgotten more about the business than you actually really know. So
Yeah, and especially like with you working SWE, there's so much veteran talent that you're around. Henry, Teddy Long, Rodney Mack, Jazz, Thunder Rosa, Evil Lee's, Christy James. Like you name them, if they're not signed to one of the big two promotions right now, they're at SWE, and
yeah,
it's phenomenal. Like even for y'all's meet and greets, like the crowd just get bigger and bigger. So
yeah,
um,
and I got to do commentary with Kevin Sullivan the last set
yeah,
of tapings, and that was really cool, man. So yeah, like you said, if we're bringing in a bunch of star power, so and if anything, man, I'm definitely gonna keep my ears open and listen and learn as much as I can.
yeah, like you're basically up here doing commentary with an encyclopedia right next
Oh,
to you. Like you can ask.
absolutely, yeah. And I mean, you
Yeah,
can
no,
imagine my nerves when they told me that I was going to be doing commentary with Kevin Sullivan. So, um, but yeah, it was a good
Yeah,
time.
one of my favorite commentators out there too. So it's
Hmm.
apart from him and Jr. and King,
Yeah,
um, Kevin Sullivan is one of the best out there.
yeah,
Um,
he's
so
great, man.
any favorite matches that you've had so far in your career? I know you've been in it a while, but what are some of your favorite matches you've had? Because I know I've seen a couple online, and but I want to know from your perspective, what was some of your favorite matches you've had so far?
Um, I wrestled JD Drake this last weekend, and he's doing a ton of stuff on AEW Dark, and I expect that guy to. I mean, he's so good, man. I expect him to be signed here pretty soon. But I wrestled him last weekend, and we had a really good match together. Um, but it's kind of hard just to pick and choose individual matches. I have certain guys who I just really enjoy wrestling and really enjoy working with. One of those is Jackson Stone, whether we tag team together or we wrestled each other. When we really first started getting hot here in Texas, we were a tag team and we were known as BB and J, and that went really well. And then I tore my ACL and we didn't tag team as much anymore. But then we did have a few singles matches. Noby Bryant is another guy who every time that we seem to link up,
he's
matches
so
are
good.
oh
I watched him
yeah,
for
the
the first time
matches.
last week. Oh
Yeah,
God, yeah.
yeah, we had
Two
a
weeks
match
ago,
for
yeah.
we had a match for SWE at Lava Cantina here in the Colony, and
Hmm.
I think that was probably out of the several matches we've had together. I think that was probably the best match that him and I have had together. Chandler Hopkins is another guy. Every time we get into the ring, it kind of seems special, and Barrett Brown is another one too. He's one of the CWF homebodies like I am, man. So he's the CWF champion right now. So we've had a knockout drag out feud for the title there before. So that's always a good time as well.
So I know you said you started watching wrestling a little bit later. Who are the top three guys or girls that you watched and you were like, that's what I want to do?
Man, so I can remember being, God, I don't know how old, man. I couldn't have been much older, if not 4 years old. And I remember my parents taking me to a Blockbuster back when that was a thing. And I rented the WrestleMania, I believe it was 16, the WrestleMania 2000, where there was the three-way ladder match for the tag team titles.
The
And
one that was in Houston.
Evan, yeah, no, it wasn't. It was the one before Houston. It wasn't the TLC
Okay.
match. It was the very first triangular ladder match. But I just remember seeing the Hardy Boys and just being captivated by Jeff Hardy. I thought Jeff Hardy was the coolest thing. I still do, but I thought Jeff Hardy was the coolest thing. And Jeff, throughout my childhood, Jeff was my guy, man. And then as I got a little bit older, once I started getting back into wrestling, once I was in high school, Randy Orton was it for me, man. I just loved he was just cool, man. Like he had tattoos, his attitude. He was just a lone wolf. He didn't need anybody else. Um, he was just the guy, man. And And then of course I got to throw some love to my boy Dolph Ziggler too. I really enjoy watching him too.
So that's actually what attracts. So Dolph is actually one of my favorites too. So I was at the signing, where Carthage, Texas, I believe it was some small town no
Yeah.
one's heard of in Texas, between 5 flea markets, and that was part of what made me like go towards your table for the first time, because I was new to the whole SWE thing. That was my second show I had attended, and of course, being sitting next to Amber Nova helped a lot too, you know. But
Yeah, me and her, we have a little deal together. We seem to do really well on our merchandise when we sit next to each other. So that's
and
my girl.
that's how it worked, dude. I got my Amber Nova signing, and I'm like, oh, Gold Girls in Glory, and that's how it worked out. And I was awesome tag team, you know, like.
Oh man,
Awesome.
this is fun. Boys, I'll let you take it away.
Basically, yeah, dude, that's everything, Bam. We don't want to keep you too long. I told you it'd be like 20, 30 minutes max, you know. So is there any like what's the match of yours on YouTube that someone can go watch right now if you want to introduce them to Bam Bam Malone?
A really good match of mine is, and just because I watched it earlier today when I was doing cardio, it's going to be myself versus Graham Bell. I don't know how familiar either one of you two are with Graham Bell, but it was at a promotion in Arkansas called WCWA, and it was actually a no disqualification, anything goes match. And I'm really proud of that match, man. It was really cool. It was our second match ever together. And there's some baseball bats, steel chairs, all of that fun stuff involved. So, yeah, look up Bam Bam Malone versus Graham Bell on YouTube, and I promise you won't be disappointed.
Also, another
I
thing,
found that.
I just got this question on Twitch, so I just wanted to ask you, how is it wrestling during a pandemic era? You know, like.
It's hard, man. I mean, really, at our level, at the independent level, there just wasn't a whole lot of shows going on, you know.
SWU was like, we're doing this, and
Yeah,
they,
and they did it. You know, we had the smaller crowds for a while, and everybody had to be masked up. And but yeah, you know, a lot of shows. You know, even before the pandemic, I've wrestled in front of nobody before, so you know,
yeah,
you get used to doing training matches, and sometimes you know shows just don't draw. It is what it is. But yeah, I think the weirdest thing was just not wrestling. You know, like not, and it was weird. You know, if I do have an open schedule, well then okay, I can go hustle and let's try to fill up the schedule. Well, there was no hustling to be done, man. Like the entire world was shut down, and independent wrestling was the least of everybody's worries at that time.
yeah. No, and it even like now, like the main reason I went to the first SWE show I went to is because it was so hard watching wrestling on TV. It's like there's no crowd, or there's very minimal crowd, and I'm like, let me introduce myself to indie wrestling stuff. So I went out to SWE. I was like, all right, I'm gonna give this a shot, and I fell in love. Like I never thought I would be into indie wrestling like I am. Like, yeah, I love the mainstream stuff, but man, I went and I was captivated by the crowd, the interaction. I go to a urinal and the guy next to me is like talking about my Elias shirt, and it's freaking awesome, you know? It just, I loved everything about it. And then the second one, you know, in Texas, the mandates loosened up a little bit more, so we let more people in and everything. So with a bigger crowd, yeah, it was just y'all had Big Kaz XL there, so that was pretty cool stuff too. Are there any names coming to SWE that you know about that you're keeping under wraps, Bam Bam, or is it for you just I show up and whoever's there is there?
Yeah, man. I'm not a part of management. I'm not a part of creative, any of that, man. I show up, I wrestle, and I do my part, get in, get out.
And you're cleared
No.
now, right? You're cleared.
I'm good, man. Yeah, I had a small little nagging knee injury that kept me out of the April bookings. I hated I had to miss the April show, but hey, I got to do commentary with Kevin Sullivan, so it wasn't all too bad.
It's just like you said, man. You
That's
just keep your ears open and keep
it's a
learning.
win-win situation right there.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so where can we find you? Where exactly can we find you on social media? Any booking information if you want to put it out there. Go ahead and just give us the whole spill.
Yeah, man. If you just look up Bam Bam Malone on any form of social media, I'll be the first one there. My direct Twitter handle is C_Malone_827. It's just Bam Bam Malone 27 on Instagram. And then, of course, like I said, Facebook, man, just Bam Bam Malone. I'm the one and only.
And pro wrestling tees, right? That's where they can
Pro
find
wrestling,
these.
pro wrestling tees as well. Now you can't find the Gold Girls in Glory on pro wrestling tees, but I do have another pretty badass design on there. But yeah, man, pro wrestling tees slash Bam Bam Malone. But you can pick up the Gold Girls in Glory shirt at any independent local show that I'm at.
Yeah.
Also,
And he'll be.
also we'll be putting on. I found the WCWA rematch that you had in 2019 with
Yeah, man.
Graham Bell, and
Yeah.
then we'll be putting that on our official Weekly Wrestling Heat Facebook to share, just for everybody to look at in case anybody is more curious about Bam Bam Malone.
And
Yeah, awesome, man.
where can people physically find you in the next couple of weeks?
So this Saturday I'll be in Brookhaven, Mississippi, for BIW Wrestling, Bayou Independent Wrestling. Then the following Saturday, May 22nd, I'll be at SWE Fury in Eddie Dean's here in downtown Dallas. Now that's
Last
the very last show at Eddie Dean. So I'm gonna burn the house down, man. And then literally the next following day, I'm at WCWA in Arkansas that Sunday, the 23rd. So got a busy next couple of weeks, man. But then I get a couple of weeks to kind of chill and relax. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, and I will. Like I said, I won't be at the 22nd show, but I will definitely see you at the next SWE show. We're both in town for, and we'll catch up. Always glad I've met you, man. You're a great guy. Elias, final thoughts?
Bam Bam Malone, I just want to thank you for coming out to the show, man. As always, we appreciate you taking the time to speak with us, to chat with us for a little bit, and anything else. We appreciate you. Support these guys. These are hardworking guys. They put on a show every week. I can attest by seeing some of the people that he's known, and seeing the indie wrestling here in Houston myself. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. So support Bam Bam Malone, support indie wrestling. Other than that, like I said, once again, Bam Bam, thank you for joining us today. And everybody else, we will be back with another episode of Weekly Wrestling Heat covering this week's action in WWE, NXT, everything. So from everybody here, we'll be back. So as always, peace.
Peace.
Hasta luego.